This is Vic Patel with Craft Express.
My name is Ashley from Artistry.
It's Gavin, founder, creator of Seps.io, and you're listening to
Two Regular Guys podcast,
Hosted by
Terry Combs RG, regular guy.
and Aaron Montgomery.
The place to be for industry news.
The best dad jokes on earth, along with relevant topics to apparel decorators.
Prepare for the wild.
Hey everyone, welcome into the show. It is Friday, January 23rd, 2026, and I'm Aaron Montgomery from our Success Group and American Print and Supply. And this week, as you guys can tell, I am rolling solo. Terry and Erich are actually in Long Beach at the Impressions Expo, and so I have invited my friend and Masters of Success member, Becky Kotzer, to join me on this show, and we're going to talk about her journey in garment decorating and kind of where she started and where she got to, and specifically, she's got something pretty cool that she's been working on, and I'm learning a ton from her myself, and just really specifically how she's finding purpose leads to profit, and what she's specifically done to focus on profit first, and then managing her money in a really what I would consider unique way. I've never seen something like this. Let me rephrase that. I've seen something like this, but used in a business sense. Really cool. So we'll get to that in a second. I'm teasing that here for you guys. Going to be really interesting and awesome show with Becky here in just a moment. And then make sure that you guys are sticking around to the very end. I want to bring a secret sauce to us here that challenges us, right? Most of us plan our business, and then so I want to challenge the way we plan for our business and say, what if your business plan only covers the work, right? Any interest in adding some joy to your business by chance, right? That's the challenge I want to talk about here in the secret sauce a little later on. So I think you guys definitely want to stay to the very end for that and check out my secret sauce coming up. In the meantime, I do have our two amazing folks from World Imaging News here. Dan is at Impressions Expo himself, so I don't know what happened to Erich and Terry. Dan figured it out, but no, I'm just kidding. Yeah, so we've got Dan and MJ from World Imaging News ready to deliver the news. So here we go, you guys.
Hey everyone, Maria Jose Clavijo here, coming to you from the always buzzing Bogota, Colombia.
And I'm Dan Barefoot, reporting live from rainy Southern California. MJ, today's show is a little unrehearsed because I'm on the ground at Impressions Expo in Long Beach. And by the way, everyone keeps asking me, when are you coming to a U.S. trade show? Honestly, I really don't get it. Who would rather see me, MJ, or me?
Then you're always right. Well, almost always. And yes, fingers crossed, I'm hoping to make it to a US trade show this year.
I have to say, Impressions Expo came out swinging on day one. The floor was buzzing, almost Bogota level buzzing. Come on, MJ, don't roll your eyes. I see that.
Let's get to the real stories then. And for the record, only Bogota truly buzzes.
Buzzes? Okay. Yesterday was wall to wall. I missed Aaron and Terry. Hopefully I'll see Terry today. But finally met Erich in person after working together on Two Regular Guys. I spotted him across the show floor, crashed a meeting that he was having with Lisa Shaw to say hello, and learned one key thing. Erich's way taller than I expected. It was great meeting them both. And with Erich and Terry on site, Aaron is definitely juggling a lot today.
He sure is then. All right, let's get to the news.
Mhm.
Let's hit the highlights. Epson rolled out a new 64-inch DTF printer, right?
They did. And we shot a video on the new SureColor G60, 9070. It's a dual roll DTF printer with different imaging at the same time. It's a big win, I think. And Equipment Zone paired it with two EasyJet shake and bake dryers. Very smart, very production driven.
You also mentioned American Print and Supply and the Kraken, with more news coming soon in several weeks.
Yes, the Kraken. Definitely APAS is one to watch. They have some big news coming in the next several weeks. So, and we're going to be working with them on that. So I'm really interested in what they will be announcing. But the real surprise for me was a company called Red Rabbit Robotics. It's a fully automated robot that pulls garments from the box, loads the printer, unloads, and folds. End-to-end automation with a subscription model planned for later this year.
Wow, that is amazing.
Hmm.
We could do this all day then, but let's go
True.
rapid fire.
Okay.
DCC Group debuts the industry's first powderless DTF system built on Nur Ink technology, pointing to cleaner workflows and higher efficiency.
Mhm.
Magic Line Solutions launches Magic Line HTF heat transfer foil, delivering bold effects as soft hand fill and broad compatibility across print methods.
Microtech, a Chinese manufacturer located in Shenzhen. In fact, they're the world's largest heat press manufacturer. They're making a strong U.S. move. I'm making a strong move into the U.S. with Gizmix. It's its new DTF consumables brand. Plus, there's major buzz around the X6 fully automated DTF carousel heat press and upcoming robotic solutions.
Mimaki USA continues to impress with the TS200 1600 die soft printer and the TXF 15075 DTF system, reinforcing reliability and color precision. Roland DGA rounds things out with growth-focused updates, including the TY300 DTF with expanded wide ink capacity and an upgrade versus Studio BY20.
And that's just scratching the surface. We'll dig deeper on our next session of Two Regular Guys, including restarting our product of the month. There was just too many products from yesterday for us to have a product of the month.
A packed, productive show then, with plenty more still to come, I'm sure.
Yes, indeed. Great stories today, as always. For the latest in digital imaging news, visit worldimagingnews.com.
And for our Latina audience, head to worldimagingnewslatina.com and sign up for Win Quick News.
That's it for this edition of Win News on Two Regular Guys. I'm Dan Barefoot.
And I'm MJ.
Until next time, be healthy and keep smiling.
Manténganse saludables y sigan sonriendo.
All right. Well, thank you, Dan and MJ. Awesome information as always. Just like breaking news, right? Like that just happened yesterday. So we appreciate them sharing everything they saw there with me not being there. You know, the FOMO was real, but I think Dan and MJ just covered that for me. So I feel good. I feel good about not being there. And thank you guys again. Dan, great. Have a great day at the show. And MJ, yeah, I can't wait till you make it over to the US. I'd love to meet you in person. So appreciate that. And you guys make sure that you are checking out what they've got going on over there. Make sure you're subscribed to their Win News and all the cool stuff that's going on over there at World Imaging News. All right. Well, if you are tuned in live, definitely love to hear from you. Let us know where you're coming to us from. And we're going to be talking about purpose plus profit here in just a second with Becky. I will get to that momentarily, but Craig Bradley checking in here saying, hi, Becky, tides are rising. And Chandler joining us and saying, so glad I can make this. So glad that you guys are all tuned in for us here today. Now, in the intro, we talk about, Cassie Green talks about this being the best dad jokes on the planet. So without Eric here, we'll have to let you guys tell me if this is a good dad joke or not. But let's dive into that, and then we'll get Becky in here in just a moment. So ready for our dad joke. All right. So my doctor told me that I'm suffering from paranoia. Well, she didn't actually say that, but I could tell that's what she was thinking. All right. So Becky shaking her head, so that's good. I appreciate the dad joke action there. Vicky checking in here says here in Michigan, trying to stay warm, and Mindy shares that Michigan is freezing. Yeah, it's there's some cold and some snow happening. It's even going to come all the way down here to St. Louis, and so we're all buckled up. Everybody has run the stores out of, apparently whenever it snows we all have to make French toast. I'm pretty sure that's what it is, because all of the eggs, all of the milk, and all of the bread is gone from the grocery store. So and Sandy is tuning in from Indiana here, so thank you for tuning in, Sandy. Let me do a little quick housekeeping before I bring Becky in here. And I just want to thank everyone for checking out the Two Regular Guys podcast. We do need your guys' voices. I probably need one, maybe two more to finally get some new intros happening. So we'd love to have you participate in our show intros. If you will go over to osg.link/intro, and I have no idea where that banner is. Eric's got a lot of them in here, so we'll get it up later. But osg.link/intro, super easy. Just go over there. I've got some instructions on there. All you have to do is read a few sentences, and you will be part of every show once we get that into our intro, like you heard at the beginning. And also, when you do this for 13, almost ready to start our 14th season here in a couple of episodes, we are always looking for new guests. We like to keep it as fresh as possible. So if you or anyone you know would like to join us on the show, head over to calendly.com/2, and that's the number 2 regular guys. So calendly.com/2 regular guys. And that way, right there, you can just book a future episode. We're looking to fill up the rest of the schedule here for 2026, and that's already starting to happen. So make sure you get over there. Or if it's easier, just email us info@tworegularguys.com with any show ideas, things you'd like to hear, what we can cover for the industry. And so with that being said, if you are listening to the podcast version of our show, which a lot of you do, and we appreciate that very much, if you could share the Two Regular Guys podcast with your industry friends so they can become regulators too, we would appreciate that. And also give us a review on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Amazon Podcasts, YouTube Podcasts, wherever you do your podcast listening. And most importantly, if you are watching us live right now, definitely jump in there. I see some other folks jumping in. We've got Ramona checking in from Long Beach. She's probably at the Impressions show there. So we want your comments, your questions, your thoughts on what Becky and I are going to talk about. So with that being said, if you guys are ready, without further ado, let me get my good friend Becky Kotzer in here. And Becky, there we go. Welcome, Becky. Thank you so much for being here.
Good morning. Glad to be here.
Awesome.
It's been a while since I've been on camera.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, we used to get to do a show, but that kind of came to its end for that time being, that season. But
Yep.
Yeah, I think with what's going on here, I can see something in our future there, maybe potentially. Who knows? All right. So I'm just throwing that out there.
You always do.
Yes. I think sometimes you guys don't like me for that, but that's okay. It's kind of, yeah. Anyhow, okay. Becky, obviously you and I are good friends, but I want to, for people that don't know you yet, and just start from the beginning. Can you share kind of a little bit about your garment decorating journey, so to speak, and what your business has looked like and kind of changed before money and profit not that money's the focus and profit's the focus, but you've made a pretty distinct shift here, I think, over the last several years. But give us the story there, please.
Okay, so anybody that doesn't know me, I'm Becky Kotzer, and I own BK Custom Tees, which essentially fell into my lap. I, for Christmas, decided to buy myself a Cricut, which was, super popular, 8-9 years ago, and I know it's still popular, but
Yep.
It has definitely, that whole garment industry, whatever, has changed here in the last couple pretty rapidly. But
Yep.
I started with a Cricut machine, and it really just was going to be a hobby. I thought I'd make cards, the paper stuck. I was like, yep, nope, that's not happening. So, and with it, the pack that I bought came with the heat transfer vinyl. So like, oh, let's try this. So, you post something on Facebook and you're like, look what I did, and then it's the, oh, hey, can you? And so
Yeah.
it really just kind of steamrolled, from there. I went full time with my business at Thanksgiving of 2018. So I've really been at it for not quite 8 years. So
Yeah.
that feels kind of cool.
Yeah.
Forget that it's been that long already, but I originally started in the basement of our house, and definitely outgrew that, but we had the opportunity to move out into the country. And so I now have a beautiful space that's, about triple what I originally started with.
Yeah.
And actually, we just remodeled it here this last weekend. So now I have what feels like lots and lots of space.
That's
um,
awesome.
but from the Cricut, I actually I've owned several machines. I went to a Roland for the vinyl. From there, I had somebody that messaged me one night and like, "Have you seen this stuff?" And that was when DTF first started coming into the U.S. And that
Yeah.
was when we converted machines. And
Yeah.
I spent endless hours out in the office by myself trying to talk to somebody at night, trying to get anybody on Facebook to answer my questions because I'm just a dumb girl. And I learned how to convert printers and make it work. And I actually I did several. I think I had probably four by the time I got done converting printers. And then I stepped into a commercial printer that was supposed to be top of the line. We won't talk about that one. That one became target practice. And now I'm into another machine, which actually it is not a machine that's made anymore. It's only a 17-inch. I requested it. They were willing to make it for me. 12 was too much, 12 wasn't enough, and 24 was too much. So I'm in that middle ground. So
Mhm.
I really like it. It fits my space well, and it's just a workhorse of a machine. So thank you, Vicky. I'm not dumb, just lack of knowledge.
Yeah.
I learned a lot. Let's
Yeah.
put it that way,
Yeah.
and met a lot of people through that. And I'm thankful for everybody along the way that helped bring me to where I am.
Mhm.
And from there, I'd known about you for quite a while. I actually met you and you didn't remember it, but we won't talk about that either.
I'm going to be in trouble for that for a long time, and I deserve it. It's
No,
okay.
you and Terry had their sublimation stuff. Like again, I did sublimation on top of it, and then
Yep.
really, I was gonna look it up, Aaron, and I totally forgot. But I don't know. Have I started MOS 2 years ago, 3 years ago? I want to
Yeah.
say three. I'm probably starting year 4 now. I think that's probably about right.
Yeah.
But which seems crazy too, because I don't feel like I've been in there that long.
Yeah.
But once I started Masters of Success, things just really changed for me as a business because it became more about what I wanted to do with the business and not like I don't know. I think it was just Masters of Success brought accountability. Okay, you said you're going to do this. Did you do it? Coming
Yeah.
2 weeks later to say, "Huh, I didn't really get that done," is hard to do when you've got other people that are, "Hey, I did this and I did this," and they got their stuff done. Not that it's a competition by any means,
Yeah.
but it really was the accountability to say, okay, what do you need help with at this point? If you're ignoring this, should we be doing it? Should we continue doing this? Which is really where I learned to streamline my business. The
Yeah.
sublimation I no longer do. I don't do a lot of vinyl, although I'm looking at a sign. I did this last week, but I really have started to pick and choose exactly what makes the most sense for my business.
Yeah.
So that's what's bringing us through here today. So
Awesome. Love it. Man, what a journey. That's super cool. I think I knew a lot of that, but I actually learned some things myself. I didn't realize that the 8 years ago, and for whatever reason, I missed the whole converted printer part. I forgot you
Oh,
were
really?
involved in that. Yeah.
Yep. I had a friend down in Florida that I had been back and forth with. He's actually the one that taught me curl draw so I could use my Roland and the cut lines.
Yeah.
And he's the one that sent me a message, the one that's like, "Hey, have you seen this stuff?" And whatever. And I'm like, "No, but should I?" And from there,
Yeah.
it just really steamrolled into the direct to film industry.
Cool. Yeah, I think you came into Master of Success, or kind of when you and I kind of reconnected a little bit right around the time of the printer that shall not be named. That's target practice, right? So
That's right. Yep.
Yeah. Okay, cool.
Yep.
Well, awesome. Thank you for sharing all that. I really appreciate giving us the kind of overview so we know where we're heading here. And I guess I also appreciate hearing what Masters of Success has done for you, right? Because accountability is one thing. Like, we can go get accountability, but in the format that we like to do it at Masters of Success, accountability, like you said, it's not a competition. It's we're coming from a place of support and love, and we want to celebrate together. It's not you're getting whipped to do the thing. It's like, gosh, I can't wait to move my business forward because I get to celebrate it with this group of people. That's what I've seen, at least. So, okay. You said that, your business kind of became, you just were moving it forward more, getting more specific, like saying, hey, I don't have to be all things to everyone. And then obviously as a business, right, our goal is to make money. So talk to us a little bit about, how your relationship to that part of your business has changed over that journey. Maybe what used to feel frustrating and unclear, and where's it heading?
Well, so, when you started, of course, for me, with it kind of falling in my lap, I really just didn't have much structure. I was just winging it. I was doing what seemed to be working at the time.
Yeah.
And again, since Masters of Success, it's just really pinpointed a lot of things for me. We worked through Fun Live and the fundamentals out of your book, and that for me was huge because I went from, okay, I want to make some money and I want to stay home with my kids. I didn't want to stay home with my kids. My kids went to school, and I learned very early on when my daughter was little that daycare was not my forte. It's not for me. But I wanted the flexibility to come and go with my kids. If they have a sick day, I get to take off. If, we need to run at 3:00 for a doctor's appointment or any kind of appointment, I don't have to ask anybody else to say, hey, can I?
Yeah.
Maybe, I'm like, yep, I get my work done ahead of time. I make sure I structure my day around what I need to do. And so it went from there. But, originally when I started the business, it was, yep, I'm going to make some money. I'm going to do this. But I've really found the purpose for my business, and that's the community side. I love the community life of Masters of Success. I love to be able to help everybody in there.
Mm-hmm.
And community as a whole. I love supporting my local community, but community for me is all encompassing with, all the network people that I've come across also. And as far as the money goes, I've always had this scarcity mentality. Like, I got to hurry up and try to make this money to do this and do that. And switching from, okay, I'm worried about money, to having this purpose for my business has just kind of taken that pressure off.
Yeah.
And don't get me wrong, it's still hard.
Yeah,
money is still hard. And I also, I went from a point of knowing kind of what my money was doing to not having a clue because I grew. So I handed it over to accountant, and then it was like, okay, but now I still really have no idea what's going on in my business, So this is all leading up to what we're going to get to, but I had to take back control in one way or another. And so in doing that, now I get to understand my business even more.
Yeah. Yeah. That's huge. I think it's so, like, and what you just shared there, right? You went both sides of the spectrum, right? And I think sometimes that's really necessary to learn what's important and to kind of clarify some things. And I remember when you had that connection to your purpose, right? You and I were
on the Zoom call.
Yeah, we were just having a great discussion, and because I think the hardest part, and at least this was the hardest part for me, and it feels like it's a challenge for a lot of the other folks I get to work with, is this idea of what we think it should look like versus I just want to know about you, right? Like, we need to get to our purpose. We just need to kind of figure out who we are. And so, and I think at the time I was still really trying to come up with the formula and format. We had the book and whatnot, but just really kind of understanding our strengths, our values, and our passions. And so I guess, as you've developed what you've been doing here, you're kind of juggling these two sides, right? And you said that understanding your purpose really changed things for you. And then you worked on your relationship with money and how you either managed that or didn't manage that. So I guess I'd love to know from your perspective, when did you kind of have that realization that kind of purpose had to come before profit? And when focus was the only, or I'm sorry, when purpose was the only focus, excuse me, I got that backwards. What wasn't working there? So, yeah, I don't know if you can kind of unpack that for us.
Well, honestly, if you don't have your purpose for your business, you're actually fighting against what you really want to do. Um, I remember the call vividly because I remember you pretty much understanding my purpose before I did, and you had some words, but they weren't quite hitting right with me.
Yeah.
And once we got them all changed around, it was truly just an aha moment. Like I can remember sitting back and just going, "Wow, that really helps." And having that purpose helped really set those rails on the side of my business.
Okay, so Vicky says, "I know my purpose, but excited to hear about profit." But you already know this, absolutely. All right, so I think you were kind of in the middle of where you and I were on that call and talking about how I maybe saw it a little bit before you did, and but then once things kind of the words got to be what meant something to you, how that started to change things, and that was kind of where you froze up.
Okay, that's what I was wondering where you lost me at. So no, once I had that, like I said, what I was saying is like I would have customers that would ask, hey, can you do this? Well, I probably could, but they didn't quite line up with what I was wanting to do, where I was streamlining my business to. So not everybody is your customer, and so you have with this purpose, I was able to say, it's not something I can do right now, or not something I'm willing to do, or my biggest thing is if I don't want to, I usually try to find somebody that can do what they're asking, so I can at least network with somebody and get them taken care of.
Okay, all right. So I guess off track, off script here, just a little bit from what you and I talked about previously, but I want to dig into that a little bit deeper too, because and this is my favorite story, and so maybe that's why I want to dig into it. And I don't know. So basically, as I recall, about a week or so after you and I had this conversation, you ended up going to an event at the school, and just from this new place of purpose, you were able to just really naturally share what you did. And without actually selling, I think you came back with like 2 or 3, maybe even more orders without even having to really feel like you were out there selling BK Custom. So can you talk to us a little bit about that? Again, maybe I've made this into a fishing story a little bit, but it's definitely one of my favorite stories.
I was trying to remember it exactly, but that's just how it goes. Everybody has such a story that they remember more. So I still remember meeting you at Dax, and you don't. So we're even.
There we go.
No, I do recall that. After that, it was about being relaxed in your business. It's about being passionate about what you're doing, being able to tell people, hey, this is what I can do, and not make it feel like, hey, I need you to buy this. I need to make $500 today, so I need this to happen right now. Yeah. And I think once you take that out, once you're not selling, quote unquote, to them, people want to support you.
Yeah. Yep. I think that's perfectly said. I mean, it seemed like, and in my experience, it kind of just takes that pressure off. And when you don't have that pressure, things are so much more natural. Things are so much more you're coming from your purpose instead of being solely focused on the profit. And then profit actually becomes a byproduct.
Right.
But I think you still have to be able to manage that, right? And that's where I think your next step was. And I don't know, I'm going to bring up Masters of Success, but you can go wherever you want to with this. I want to know kind of what shaped that next step for you, right? I believe there were some experiences inside of Masters of Success, and just the way you started thinking about numbers and decisions and intentionality in your business. So, talk to us a little bit about that.
Well, Masters of Success has just really been there. That's that network of people. Sandy and Kylene and I have gotten to be really, really good friends. So we meet for coffee, which we would love to have more people. Vicky's been joining us too, and it gets that that networking time, or the, for lack of a better term, no offense, Aaron, but the girl time.
Yeah, no offense
We
taken.
aren't discriminative. We won't, if somebody shows up, anybody can show up, but it's just really that social time. Maybe that's the word I need to say, not girl
Well,
time,
yeah,
but the social time. Sometimes we talk about business, but sometimes it's like, hey, what's going on? Which,
yeah.
by the way, I'm going to give a little plug. It's my son's 19th birthday today. And
Happy birthday.
he is, besides myself, the only one working out of the household today because he had to go to work because he
All right.
graduated high school and welding school in 2025. So he
Good for
is
him.
part of the workforce now. So it's awesome.
Yeah,
But anyways, squirrel
that's right.
moment there. But um, having that network of people to support everything, and it just really brought back what I needed. I needed that support to keep moving forward, to
Yep.
to bring things around. And it's you can see where, I mean, everybody thinks you're going to have a straight line. You're going to go from point A to point B. Well, that's really not how it goes. I've had a lot of dips and valleys and hills and
Yep.
side here and out there and everything else in between. There's been a lot of things that have been tried. But in this last year, in 2025, for me, I found how to manage my money better. It
Yeah.
started out on a personal side, and it's just really kind of morphed. I got some one-on-one time with a coach, and helped me to see that it actually can help my business too, which is what has brought me to finding this new avenue that I want other people to see, because I can't be the only one that doesn't understand the word budget.
Yes.
Because I mean, budget for me has always been a very dirty word. It's been a naughty word. It's been we don't want to talk about it. If we don't talk about it, it doesn't happen. And so, I knew there had to be a better way. And so once I started working with it on the personal side last year, and then towards the end of 2025, it really started to, I adjusted it to start working with my business also. And I knew there had to be a way that it would work for other people too. So that's really what I'm trying to build now, is some spreadsheets, and actually it's a combination, Aaron, because we're working with what you've had in place for us all along, because pricing is a big thing for anybody in our world.
Mhm.
That, well, how do you price? How do you price?
Yep.
Well, there's a lot more to pricing than besides, okay, yep, that shirt costs $3,
Yeah.
whatever.
Yeah.
There's so much more into it. And I think that's the one part that a lot of people miss when they sit to do pricing. And so what you started with and what I'm bringing into that
Yep.
really does mesh well into understanding not only how to price, but what your numbers are for your business to then make you profitable.
Yeah. 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 Unfortunately, most people's pricing strategy is go to the Facebook group and ask, how much should I charge for this? And that's a pretty quick way to running yourself out of business without knowing it until it's too late and you're buried in debt and overwhelmed and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, we want to eradicate that. And I can't wait for this. So, but I want to go back real quick, because you said, talked about the word budget and how it was a naughty word and all that stuff. What was it about that kind of traditional sense of budgeting that felt off or restrictive or whatever kind of made that feel like a naughty word to you?
Well, so some of it goes back to my first husband and I trying to build a budget sheet, and we'd have this nice, beautiful spreadsheet. I mean, I love a good spreadsheet, don't get me wrong. All the pretty colors and all the formulas add up and everything. And you'd have it set for the whole year. And 3 days later, one of us would go spend something that didn't quite line in that budget. But nowhere in that budget did it allow me to put that out of the line, out of the blue, this so happened I wanted to spend whatever budget.
Yeah.
There was no place for it. So you know what happened? I deleted that budget and we went on our way, and we just continued to spend. So
Yeah.
it's, if something didn't fit in there, it just, how do you do it? And I've spent my life wondering that. I mean, I did Dave Ramsey twice. His stuff is great. But every time I tried to go into his budget app and all that kind of stuff, again, still never made sense to me. And they don't teach that well. They don't teach the budgeting side of life well.
Yeah.
Creative Fabrica is something else I use, and I went into every one of those, every budget sheet looks exactly the same.
Yep.
So it just did not work for me. So, and
yeah, it yeah, definitely. I mean, what I'm hearing is it just sounded so restrictive for you. And then when you quote unquote fell off the wagon, there was no way to get back on.
well, there's no place to put the wagon, right?
The
wagon better. Didn't fit.
Gotcha. No. Okay.
So,
yes. Okay.
That's the part for me that didn't work in a budget. And
okay. All right.
For whatever reason, that's where I was at. So
yeah, definitely. Yeah, Ramona shows took me years and years to build and create a working budget. Absolutely. So, and then Vicky, by the way, I don't want you to think that I just blew past your question. So you mentioned passion. Have you ever lost how you get it back? I'm going to hold on to that though. So let's save that for the end, if that's okay, Becky.
Yep.
Okay. So I want to, because I've been fortunate enough to get to see the path in the background. And I just, that's why I wanted to have you on. I wanted everybody else to see this journey that you've taken, because I think it's been really eye-opening, and I think it will help a lot of people here. And so you've kind of now made this shift in, kind of budgets are typically just tracking your money, right? You've got, okay, here's what I think I'm going to spend. And then at the end of the year, we do an actual and we go, what was off? But that just, I think that feels a little bit hollow. And what I've seen, and the word I want to use to describe it, is you've been able to really take this idea and turn it into directing your money, right? Like you're putting it to work for you, and you're managing it. So I guess talk to us about that, right? What changed when you moved from kind of tracking to being intentional with how you're directing your money? But talk to us kind of about that journey too.
So in all of this, I started what was called Profit First, which really helped me shift the money into some different categories, so that money at one point at least was sitting there when I needed to pay sales tax and the cost of goods, because we all have that to have up front and that kind of stuff, which was great, and it worked for a while. But what I was finding is I still had really no idea what, we started doing pricing stuff, and I still had no idea what my numbers were. So I knew there had to be more to that. And so with this, I'm going to call it new, and it's probably not new to a whole bunch of people, but it's new to me, is it was able to show me that, okay, if I had money coming in, because all of us in this industry do not have a normal paycheck. It does not come in every 2 weeks. It does not come in Friday at 9 a.m. It comes in when they decide they want to pay you. So when that money would come in, you had to figure out where it was going. And so in this sheet, it allows you to direct and put it where you need it at that time of the month. If it's the first of the month and you have 4 bills due, okay, you're going to divide it out and you're going to get it set so it sets you up to make sure that you can allocate it, or you can direct it to where you need that money to be for you. And I think how I told the girls this morning was, it becomes fluid. It becomes your ability to show where you need it. Okay. So if I've now directed that money into these buckets, but tomorrow or today, as my husband's going to spend some money, that wasn't originally targeted or directed to where it needed to go, I can rearrange, because it allows me the opportunity within this sheet to redirect it when I need to.
I love it.
And I think that's the part for me that really, it was really truly an aha moment of like, oh, I get to move this where I want to. I get to choose what I want it to do. And that wasn't something in a traditional budget sheet that I felt like I could do. That wasn't something that, nowhere in that did it say, here's where you can put it now. It just has to go where you said it was going to go. So
I love it. And I love, because that, as that's kind of the mentality that we really work on inside our success group, is the get to is what we're after, right? We just need to reframe, and sometimes it's not really even anything different. It's that reframe. But in this case, you've kind of seen how this is different. And I like how you shared, Profit First. And for anybody that's not aware of what Profit First is from a kind of a program standpoint, it's an author named Mike Michalowicz has wrote a book called Profit First, and I think it's really really well done. I just think for a small business owner, you and I had these conversations behind the scenes a lot of times. Is like it's just too much, right? You're just adding so much to your plate, and so how do you kind of take that concept of we need to focus on profit first, we need to have these buckets to know where our money is, and turn it into something that can actually be used in a day-to-day basis. And that's what I really also love about what you've been creating here. Yeah. So, all right. So this idea of like you get to and whatnot, but you're also really have been, at least from my vantage point, been focused on kind of making these decisions with clarity, right? And so you've got clear numbers, you understand what your expenses are, and so talk to us about how that's changed the way you make your decisions. I know you've been running this kind of full time in your business, for at least 6 months or so now.
Yeah, I mean, business wise, I started August, September-ish.
Okay. All right.
In the last year, I mean, type of thing. I mean, I'd been doing lots of stuff with the business prior to that, but this new system was end of last quarter of 2025.
Okay, so implement, right? So yeah, talk to us about that, right? How has that changed the way you kind of make decisions month to month? And as you talked about, right, there's no place to put the wagon when things don't go as planned. What kind of freedom have you seen in that?
Well, I mean, knowing your numbers makes a huge difference. Before, when I'm just like, if I would have told you what I thought my expenses were, maybe a third of what they actually are. Because again, do you remember that you have a yearly subscription to XYZ until it comes due and you're like, oh crap, where did, because I had something that came through in, I think it was October, and it wasn't a huge dollar amount, but all of a sudden I went, well, what is that for? It's an annual. You're like, yep, I'm going to sign up for an annual. It's good. It's cheaper. But did you remember you had it until it came through? I mean, QuickBooks is one of those things that's kind of sneaky because their annual amount's kind of big. But I need QuickBooks at this point.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to get rid of QuickBooks. But that's one of those expenses that if I'm not planning for it, that one will come up and go, oh crap, where's that coming from? So having and knowing your numbers makes such a difference, because then it allows us to, in your pricing sheet, have our overhead rate, which we have learned makes a big difference in how we need to price. I mean, you and I could be doing the exact same business, but my overhead rate and your overhead rate are two different things.
Mm-hmm.
And so just because we buy the same shirt and we're doing similar things, I'm using words here today, processes, that's the word I'm looking for. Our numbers are not going to always be the same.
That's right.
If ever, should they be the same.
And taking that one step further, right? Sorry to interrupt, but like, not only are our numbers not going to be the same, but our, perceived value, what we stand for, who we're working with. We could be next door neighbors and still be just fine, right? Like, I think that's, So sorry to interrupt. Keep going with your thought there.
That's fine. I mean, but knowing the numbers and that kind of stuff now, like with your pricing spreadsheet, I know what my numbers should be when I plug in my SKU numbers and that kind of stuff. And the other thing for me is, okay, if I have my pricing sheet and I know what I should be making, now if I want to go spend some money, like I want to update the office, okay, I'm going to look at what I've set aside. Where is my money going? What do I need it for? What's coming up? And I can look and see, is my bucket full that I have money to spend to update the office?
Yep.
Or do I need to wait another month because it's not there? Yep. I mean, my account may say that there's money there, but if I don't check my bank account. Like, I don't go open my bank account to say, oh, I have X dollars in there.
Yeah.
If I'm going to want to see what I have to spend, I'm pulling up my spreadsheet, because my spreadsheet's going to tell me where all of that money from my account is sitting and what it's holding for. I mean, tax season is coming up, so I'm going to pay a CPA to do my taxes. I've been saving for that all year, so that when I get her bill, it's not like I think I better go sell about 5 more shirts because I can't cover that. I need them still short, that part of life. So having that knowledge
Yeah.
of our pricing structure and being able to see what we have coming in and out and what's available makes a big difference.
Yeah, that's huge. That's huge. So good. I love you sharing this, and it sounds a little bit like too, like just some of that emotional heaviness of trying to kind of juggle and manage your money has kind of subsided there. And
Yep.
because again, you're prepared for what's coming, and so surprises aren't so surprising,
Mhm.
and you've got a system to be able to, it's okay when expense comes along, right? I know you guys had a wedding that showed up, right, and some things like that, and so I guess to me, I didn't realize when I was younger growing up and just kind of watching people through the process of working with them in our success group, a lot of managing money is actually very emotional, right? It's a big deal. And how did you kind of see that change for yourself, the emotional side of managing money, once you started doing this differently?
Well, I don't think any of us realize how emotional it really is. I mean, I didn't until I was so frustrated with how
Mm,
things were going. But for me, being able to, direct and target and allocate where I want that money to go and be proactive instead of always reacting to, oh my God, that bill just came through, or the bill comes in the mail and it's like, ugh, they want it paid by Friday, and I'm going, I don't have it until maybe 3 Fridays from now,
yeah.
and you don't want to do that. So, and then again, just like, the annual subscription, that thing, like, when do those show up? Do you have those? Do you remember those?
Yeah.
I wasn't one that remembered it. I'd sign up for it, and then it's like, okay, that free trial wasn't so free anymore because
Yeah.
you didn't get it down that was going to be what it needs to do.
Yeah.
Um, so
That's
I don't
awesome.
know.
Yeah.
Yeah. And, and for somebody that started a business without much structure and all that kind of stuff, I didn't understand pricing. And my pricing was, well, I don't know. What do I feel like today?
Yeah. Yeah.
you know, what does this customer, how does this customer, and of course, we always value ourselves lower.
Yeah.
So, something that maybe should have been $25. If I'd have done my pricing sheet right, I'm saying 18 to 20, I mean,
Yeah.
so it's about being able, and what I've really noticed is if somebody asks me a price and I say it is X, they don't question it. But as soon as I'm like, well, I don't know, let me, and you're hemming and hawing about it, then they see that there's room to maybe negotiate with you.
Interest.
So,
That's a nugget right there, you guys. Holy
mhm.
cow. Thank you, Becky. Jeez. All right. Well, this has been really cool. We're going to start kind of heading out. I want to get to Vicky's question here in a second too, but and Becky knows me, and so I typically will kind of put people on the spot and make them take a step that they're not ready for. But I'm not doing that here. Okay, I'm not gonna lock you in anything. I'm just curious, like, what possibilities do you see for how this could evolve to help other businesses in the future?
Well, I would really say that my goal is that, I want other small business owners that are feeling frustrated with normal budget sheets to be able to learn that they can direct their money confidently and
Mm,
understand their numbers
huge.
wholeheartedly.
Yeah.
So I am working on that, and I think Masters of Success will see it here in a few weeks. There's some tweaks on the back end that I want to kind of dig into. Aaron was helping me with the spreadsheet, so there's a couple things there that I need to see for myself to how it's going to work, and then
Yep.
we can hopefully get something started in with the Masters of Success people first, so they can be my guinea pigs, and we can go from there. So
Love it.
um, I'm excited about it. I think it'll be something that we can move forward with here shortly. So
Yeah. Yeah. I love it. Yeah. I think it's kind of all lined up pretty well. So week 6 of the accelerator program is really around pricing and managing our money and stuff like that. So if we can pull it off, I think our plan is to do a little bonus in there as well, just to kind of
I think
see.
the girls told me I have to do it messy, whether it's ready or not. So
Okay, so I'm not putting it on you. That's the group. Okay, good. Takes the pressure off me. Oh, that's cool. That's I'm excited, Becky, and also very just appreciative of what you're sharing here. All right, let's hit Vicky's question. And Julie says, "Hi Becky, great job. Love your confidence." So perfect. Let's see here. Let me get back to Vicky's question from earlier. All right, so Vicky said you mentioned passion. Have you ever lost it, and how did you get it back?
Oh, well,
Good
definitely. I mean, every business ebbs and flows. So, and honestly, I would say I'm kind of in that season right now. I've lost some passion for the actual decorating part of it.
Mhm.
I don't love to go stand at that press. Actually, that's the one thing that I truly try to avoid at the moment. And I will work on anything and everything before I go do that. However, finding it, finding my why, finding my clarity, and finding my mission statement, all of that brought things clear for me for what I want to do. I've been going through the accelerator program, and I keep going back to my mission statement, and it hasn't changed, even though my business is slowly evolving and changing.
Yeah.
Um, we, we did such a good job back then. I haven't wanted to change it. Nothing seems about it that even if I change avenues and start working on the program and the new program we're gonna be working on,
Mhm.
my statement still feels like it encompasses that.
Yep.
And I guess that's what's really been aha for me is like I've managed to get this to evolve to the point where I'm making my business work for me
Yep.
in what I want to do.
Yep.
And everybody's passion comes and goes.
Sure.
Some days I don't have a problem pressing, and I kind of enjoy it because I know that person's going to pick it up, and I get to see that they're so excited about it. But I'm also excited about what else I am able to help everybody else with. So
yeah. And I think that's what's so powerful about that reason statement that you talked about, right? It's not describing your business, it's describing who you are and what your gifting is, and therefore your business becomes that, not the other way around, right? So I love that answer to how to get your passion back. I think we need passion, right? It's that kind of start to the motivation, but I don't think we follow it. Right. And that's why it's just one of the legs of the SVPs. I believe, I think the strongest is really our values is what we got to come back to. Our strengths are the tools that we have to live out those values, and the passions are just kind of that motivation that guides us towards it. So, passion is just a little too fickle to be what we follow completely. But when we look at ways to kind of get that spark back, it normally goes back to just going back to that root of what's your reason, and okay, what are you being pulled to next then? And I feel like you're being pulled to this, and that's really cool to be a part of. So, all right, while I've got you, I know we're getting towards the end of the show time here, but I want to ask you one more question if you're okay with that.
Mhm.
I'm going to do it anyhow. Sorry. All right. So if somebody's out there and they're listening and they're overwhelmed by their numbers and they're kind of stuck in between maybe even this purpose and profit thing, what's maybe a mindset shift that you would encourage them to consider first?
Oh, I've thought about that one long and hard, and really the only thing that came to me is Kylene. Kylene taught me about gratitude, there's just so much more. The more I started looking into that, gratitude is really the first and foremost. If you are not grateful, and can see the gratitude of all the things in your life, and it can be as small as the cup of coffee you had for this morning that's keeping you warm, to the roof over your head, to customers, repeat customers, or the network, or for me, the Masters of Success group and my network and my family. I mean, as you start thinking about it, it doesn't have to be huge things. It's all the little things that really add up. And then truly, if you don't understand the reason that you're in business and your purpose for your business, you're going to have that struggle. So until you have and understand that purpose, then the profit will just follow. That's like you said earlier, it's just the byproduct. So I really think if you can come from a stance of gratitude, life just seems to want to flow towards you.
Love it. Love it. Wow. All right. I kind of bummed that we're doing this virtually because I want to give you a big high five and a hug. This has been freaking awesome. Excuse my somewhat language there, but it has been freaking awesome. So how can people connect with you, Becky? What's the easiest way to connect with you if they want to learn more?
Either Facebook with the BK Custom
Okay.
page. My email is becky@bkcustomsd.com. Or my website is out there, but I would prefer you to judge me by that one. But that's bkcustomsd, as in South Dakota.com. So,
there you go. Okay.
Yeah. So
we'll get that stuff into the show notes for people, and you guys can certainly reach out to me as well if that's easier, and I can connect you, make the connection there. But Becky's definitely somebody you guys need to know and get to know better. So, Becky, thank you so much. I really appreciate you spending some time with us here today.
I appreciate being here, and thank you everybody for joining us today. And I'm excited. We'll see everybody in a couple weeks to see how we do.
Awesome. All right. Yep. We'll keep. Maybe we'll get you back here for an update here after a little bit. So awesome. Thank you, Becky. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
All right, you guys, that was awesome. I'm like pumped. I'm like stoked right now. All right. So we, like I said, we're getting towards the end of the program here, but I still have our secret sauce coming up. So hang tight with me for a second. I do need to share what Terry's got coming up here, because if you guys are at all interested in screen printing in any little bit, you need to definitely check out his complete screen printing business course. His first class of 2026 will be March 21st through the 22nd with Atlas Screen Supply in Chicago. And you can go check out the details over at terrycombs.com. For Erich, right now he's in Long Beach, so we're just going to leave it there. Go find him. If you're anywhere in the Long Beach area, head over to the Impressions Expo and look for Erich. He's a tall guy. He's probably got a hat on. In fact, you saw that picture of him earlier. So there you go. Go check out and say hello to Erich. For me, tomorrow, I've got my Small Business Saturday show that I do every Saturday. And it's going to be happening at noon Central Time. And it will be a discussion about how to prioritize the challenges that we're facing in our business. The plan is to help us answer this very specific question: what do I work on first? Right? Like, I don't know if you've sat there, gone and sat down at your desk or wherever your work area is, and like, what do I work on first? Right? And a lot of times the first thing we work on is what seems like the most urgent problem, but it's probably not the one that you should work on first. In fact, I would go so far and be so bold as to say focusing on urgent problems is often the reason that nothing ever changes. And I want to prove that fact to you. So that's what I'm going to try to do tomorrow in the Small Business Saturday episode, and then show you a better way to decide what deserves your attention so your work actually creates progress. So make sure you tune into that live over at our YouTube page, which is liveosg.com. We'll take you there. And be sure that you subscribe to our page for lots of other great business mindset topics and tips. And in person, out in the real world out there, I'm going to be at the DAX Kansas City show, and that's happening February 21st and 22nd. Or, I'm sorry, February 20th and 21st. And that will be at the KCI Expo Center right near the airport there in Kansas City. I am teaching 2 classes and facilitating one more. The 2 classes I'm teaching are on Friday the 20th. The first one is the myth of everyone is my customer. I want to share a clear vision about who you serve and how you attract more of the right customers for lasting success. So that's on Friday at 10:30 a.m. And then if you just hang out in that classroom, starting at noon that same day, I will be teaching Bye Bye Burnout. I want to share how to prevent burnout before it starts and create sustainable habits that keep your creativity and business thriving. So if you'll head over to daxshow.com to register and take advantage of any early bird pricing, I'll be teaching those same things at all of the rest of the DAX shows as well. And I think all of those shows are now available to register for. So check out daxshow.com. After Kansas City, I am off the next week to Las Vegas for the International Personalization Expo. I've been calling it APA, and I think that's what it was for years. It might still have that in there somewhere. Awards and Personalization Association, I think, is what that stands for. And that's happening February 24th through the 27th at the Horseshoe in Las Vegas, Nevada. And so you go to personalizationpros.org to check that out. While there, I will be moderating a panel called Brands, Business, and Growth. So make sure you check that out. All right. Well, I wanted to get to the secret sauce here. So if you guys are ready for that, we're going to hit the secret sauce. All right, regulators, Aaron Montgomery here with today's secret sauce. And are you guys ready to get a little rebellious? Let's get a little crazy, right? For all of you super serious small business owners, this might sound crazy. We need to start planning for joy, right? Yep, crazy. Let's get wild and crazy. Some business owners have a plan. I honestly wish more did, but it is what it is. Most business owners at least have a general vision or a list or two. They have jobs to quote, they have orders to ship, they have fires to put out, they have revenue to hit. We're really good at planning our jobs. We're really bad at planning our joy. Somewhere along the way, the business plan became the production plan, and it tells you what you need to do, but it completely ignores how you want to feel while doing it, right? And that's a problem I want to solve. So how can we fall in love with what we get to do again? And my belief is when fulfillment isn't planned, it gets postponed. And postponed fulfillment quietly turns into resentment, burnout, or feeling that the business you built is now stealing from you instead of serving you. Does anybody have a low paying or no paying job that is stealing all of your time? Right? I think a lot of us can raise our hand there. And so let's get crazy. Let's get a little wild. Let's shake it up a bit. Let's plan our joy, not just our jobs. So in my fundamental formula that comes out of the book, one of the core truths is clarity creates fulfillment. But clarity just isn't about numbers and goals. It's also about knowing what energizes you, what restores you, and what makes the work worth it. Here's the big realization that changed things for me. This isn't a time management problem. It's not even a priority management problem, right? We're going one step further. It's actually an energy management problem. And here's the aha that hit me a little hard and might hit you a little hard. If it's not on your calendar or in your plan, it's not a priority. It's just a wish, right? So you can say joy matters all day long, but your calendar actually tells the truth. So in the fundamental formula, one of the things that we want to look at here is clarity isn't just about those KPIs. If your plan only answers what do I need to do to make money, but never answers what do I do to stay human, right? Then it's incomplete. And so I want to give you a practical way really quick here. Over the next 90 days, just like short and sweet, I want you to add one non-revenue goal, just one. And I want you to turn that into a joy anchor. And so when I say joy anchor, there's three things that I look for in a joy anchor. First, it's got to be scheduled. Otherwise, it's not an anchor. Second, it's got to be repeatable, something you can do over and over. And third, it's got to give you energy, no matter what. Even if it is repetitive, it's got to bring you back some energy. And so it might look something like blocking off one afternoon where you have no meetings, right? That's what works for me. I love meeting with people, but I also need to recharge. And so I block off time intentionally for myself with no meetings, none of that. It also might look like a protected day off every month with zero guilt, right? Sometimes we take a day off, but we are so guilty that we're not quote unquote working that we don't actually enjoy it. And so we got to make sure there's no guilt associated with that. Maybe it's time set aside to learn something that you actually enjoy. Maybe it's spending time weekly reconnecting with your why, the reason that you started this business in the first place, right? Maybe it's giving yourself some margin that you build into your schedule so you're not always behind, right? That was also something that helped me a lot. Is I tended to go back to back to back to back. Well, now I leave intentional space between meetings, just some margin to kind of breathe, to get back on track. And this is not just woo-woo talk, right? This is totally strategic. Business energy is an asset, and when it's depleted, everything costs you more, including your patience, your creativity, your leadership. When you don't have energy, they're all down. So there's a cost to not doing this. And here's what I learned the hard way is that we can hit revenue goals and still feel empty. You can grow a business quietly and shrink as a human, right? But when fulfillment is actually intentionally planned, something really powerful happens. You start making better decisions. You say no faster. You lead with more patience, and the work starts to feel meaningful again. Your business plan needs to be living, not something you set once and forget, but something that reflects what you need in this season. And if you're not thinking, if you are thinking, I'll plan joy later, once things slow down, they won't. The truth of the matter is they won't until you stop and get intentional. The business will always take more if you let it. But if we challenge ourselves, and so I want to do that, challenge yourself, look at your next 90 days, add one joy anchor, write it down, put it on your calendar, protect it like your revenue depends on it, because it does. And that's my secret sauce for today. All right, I'm back again. We have come to the close of the show here. I want to thank Becky for joining us and sharing her journey, and really looking forward to what might become of Purpose and Profit. I wish the boys, Terry and Erich, a very successful show in Long Beach, and look forward to having them back next week. We'll have much better graphics and everything happening with Erich in the background there. So speaking of next week, we have a young lady named Ashley from Spectre & Co. Is going to be joining us to talk about the new way to launch products. I'm really excited to learn about this from Ashley. So going to be a great show. So make sure you tune back in at 11 a.m. Eastern time. And I think with that being said, I'm Aaron Montgomery. I took over for Terry and Erich today, and that was the Two Regular Guys.
Here we go. We're out.
Awesome.
Thank you for tuning in to this week's episode of Two Regular Guys. We're here because of listeners like you, and we're so grateful to have you on this journey with us. For more valuable insight, be sure to visit our website, 2regularguys.com, and join the conversation on our Facebook page. And hey, if you or someone you know has expertise, a unique perspective, or a story worth sharing, we'd love to have them as a guest on the show. Just reach out. Remember, success in this industry isn't just about the equipment you own or the techniques you've mastered. It's about the mindset you bring and the connections you build. Keep learning, stay curious, and don't be afraid to think differently. Keep pressing on, and we'll catch you on the next episode of the Two Regular Guys.